Have you ever wondered how an army powerful enough to conquer kingdoms was destroyed before a single battle even began? This is not a legend. It is a story preserved in the Quran more than 14 centuries ago. An ambitious ruler dreamed of changing history forever. His name was Abraha. He ruled Yemen with unmatched power, but his ambition reached far beyond his kingdom. He wanted the entire Arabian Peninsula to abandon the Kaaba, a sanctuary built by Prophet Abraham, and instead travel to a magnificent cathedral he had built. Its walls glittered with marble. Its halls were covered in gold. It was one of the most impressive buildings of its time. Yet despite all its beauty, the people refused to leave the Kaaba. Every year, the caravans continued to cross the burning desert, heading toward Mecca, toward the ancient house of God. Abraha watched with growing anger. His pride could not accept it. Then, he made a decision that would change history forever. If the people would not abandon the Kaaba, he would destroy it himself. Orders spread across the kingdom. Thousands of soldiers gathered. Weapons were prepared. And at the front of the army stood something Arabia had never witnessed before. A gigantic elephant. The largest war animal most of them had ever seen. The army began its march toward Mecca, certain that nothing on earth could stop them. Abraha's army marched across the endless desert. Thousands of soldiers advanced with confidence. At their head walked the giant elephant, village after village. No one dared to stop them. Fear spread. Long before they arrived, news reached Mecca. The most powerful army in Arabia was coming. Not to conquer the city, but to destroy the Kaaba. The people were terrified. They knew they could never defeat such an army. There were no massive walls, no powerful kingdom, no army strong enough to stand against Abraha. Among the people of Mecca was Abdul Muttalib, the respected leader of Quraysh. When Abraha's soldiers seized his camels, he went to meet the king. Abraha expected him to beg for the Kaaba. Instead, Abdul Muttalib said calmly, "I have come for my camels." Abraha was shocked. "I thought you came to speak about the Kaaba." Abdul Muttalib replied, "I am the owner of the camels, and the Kaaba has its own lord. Who will protect it?" Then the people left Mecca. They climbed into the surrounding mountains, watching, waiting, praying below them. The sacred sanctuary stood alone, silent, peaceful, facing the greatest threat it had ever known. The next morning, Abraha gave the final order: advance toward the Kaaba. The army moved forward, step by step. The ground trembled beneath the feet of the giant elephant. Victory seemed certain. Then something unexpected happened. The elephant stopped. Its handlers shouted. They pushed it. They struck it, but it refused to take another step. They turned it away from Mecca. Immediately, it began to walk. They turned it back toward the Kaaba. Once again, it refused to move. Confusion spread through the army. No one understood what was happening. Then the sky changed. Small birds appeared on the horizon. At first, only a few. Then hundreds. Then thousands. Wave after wave filled the sky. Each bird carried tiny stones, one in its beak and two in its claws. The soldiers laughed. What can birds do against an army? Then the first stones began to fall. Everything changed. The stones fell from the sky, one after another. Every stone found its target. Panic spread across the battlefield. The mighty army began to collapse. The soldiers fled in every direction, but there was no escape. The force that defeated them did not come from another army. It came from God. Abraha's dream was shattered. His army was destroyed. The Kaaba still stood, untouched, protected. Just as Abdul Muttalib had said, the Kaaba has its own Lord. Who will protect it? The Quran describes the end with these words: "He made them like eaten straw." A reminder that no matter how great human power may seem, it can never overcome the power of God.